Hi guys, welcome back for the fourth installment of Keep Ups with Canadian Women's Soccer. Since it's February and Black History Month, we're going to be talking about the impact that some black female athletes have had on the Canadian women's national team. We can't cover every athlete, but we're going to be looking at some legends and OGs. We're going to be looking at some current superstars and then maybe some future talents as well. So, we're going to start off with the legends and OGs. There's two that come to mind for me. One is she's probably lesser known than she should be, and that's Charmaine Hooper. And the other is Karina LeBlanc, who may be a bit more popular to the current followers of the Canadian women's national team. So Charmaine Hooper played from 1986 to 2006. She accumulated 129 caps, good for 8th all time in the Canadian women's national team. Quite impressive when you consider they didn't play as many games or tournaments back then. And so over those 129 games, she ranks second in goals scored for Canada with 71. Just a wee bit behind Christine Sinclair in her record-setting 186, but she's well clear of third place with 38. She's also tied for 6th all-time in assists with Canada with 13, tied with Christina Kiss. So it's quite impressive that she's top of the goals, assists, and then somehow she's still not that well known, but she's a legend and a pioneer of the game. And so she kind of overlapped with Karina LeBlanc for a couple of years there, because Karina started in 1998 until 2015. But over her time, she had 110 caps. She ranks number one in Canada for clean sheets. But Erin McLeod is still playing and is only two behind on that. So we'll see if that record holds. But more than that, Karina, she was an amazing player and someone who I definitely looked up to. But she also is someone who makes a great impact off the field. So she is staying in the game as the head of women's football in CONCACAF. She took over that role, I think, a year or two ago, and she's already made some great impacts. And then also last year she had a little baby, so cute. And she showed a lot of courage in that she was separated from her baby for a little bit. And honestly, she's just someone who's so great to follow on social media because she shows like a lot of positive stories and just kind of shows the hard work that goes into everything. And so she was an amazing player and also is just an amazing human and also another pioneer of the game. So those are two legends on the Canadian women's national team. And then we've got our current superstars, such as Ashley Lawrence and Kadeisha Buchanan. These two are probably arguably the two best players in the Canadian women's national team. And Lawrence was voted just that in 2019, while Kadeisha was voted the best player for Canada in 2015, 2017, and 2020. So they've both been back and forth a little bit, which is quite funny because they were also teammates at West Virginia, where they were both also superstars. Lawrence was also recognized by her peers in 2016 in the CONCACAF qualifying tournament as one of the tournament's best 11. Quite impressive considering her young age at that time. And then she went on to star at PSG, where she always battles it out with Olympique Lyon, where Kadeisha plays. So the two of them are always trying to be the best in France and potentially the best in the world. And then so Lawrence has done a lot for her game and continues to progress. But Buchanan was noticed probably even earlier on in 2015, where she was awarded FIFA Women's World Cup Best Young Player. And went on in 2015 and went on to win the Herman Trophy in 2016, recognized as the best player, women's soccer player in the NCAA. And so she already was having a lot of success, and then she went on to, her and Lawrence both won the bronze medal in 2016 with Canada. And since then, Kadeisha's won 4 French titles and 4 Champions Leagues with Olympique Lyon, and she continues to play there and do well. And she gets voted to a couple different recognizable teams based off fan voting. And she was also named to the CONCACAF Women's Team of the Decade, which is very impressive considering she was only on the Canadian women's team for about half of that. And so these budding superstars are going to be an important backbone of the Canadian team for the next decade or so. And so we're like, okay, but who gets the torch after that? Well, Deanne Rose is she's in between. She's a younger player, but she's had some experience and did well in 2016 onward. And so recently she was one of the 6 black women who were selected in the top 10 of the NWSL draft. And she went 10th overall to the NC Courage, which some may argue is a bit of a steal. And she probably should have been picked earlier, but so it goes. And NC Courage is lucky to have her. And then we have some up-and-comers such as Jade Rose. Don't have too much on her yet. And Olivia Smith. The latter is the youngest to ever cap with the national team. She had her first cap at 15 years, 94 days, which was only 36 days younger than the infamous Cara Lang, who was a Canadian legend but had to retire early due to injuries. And there's so many other players that are coming through the system and have a lot of potential. So it's very exciting to see these players and the impact that they may have. Comment below, let me know which players you're most excited about on the Canadian women's national team, which Black female athletes may have the biggest impact of the team moving forward, and whose successes you want to celebrate. So if you want to hear more, we're going to talk more about the She Believes Cup starting next week. And I'm very excited to see how the team is selected and how they're going to appear. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next video. So if you want to subscribe, like, and let me know anything you might think about in the comments. All right, thanks guys. Stay tuned.